Exactly.
It's good to go.
Oh, there you go. Very good. All right, let me put this in here. You're going to run the board. Thank you. Don't got to click anything. Okay, ready? Okay, so what I'm going to do, guys, first of all, thank you guys all for being here. Really appreciate you taking your time out of your practice to be here. I guarantee you this. Today will be a game changer. I promise you that. I've been in the business 38 years, guys. This process, this program has totally changed my career. So I'm really excited you guys are here because the people who didn't come are really going to miss out. I think you'll know that when we get done tonight at 10:30. Making sure you're listening. Okay, so what I want to do real quick is we're going to simulate a seminar. Imagine you're in between the ages of 59 and 79. You're going to retire in the next 5 years, or maybe you're retired. You've been retired for 20 years. Imagine you're that person. And you already have a financial advisor. You've got all the insurance you need. You think you're okay. Nobody's ever brought up probate. You don't know what a healthcare power of attorney is. Nobody ever brought that up. So think of that mindset as I start this talk. Okay? Everybody got it? Okay, so how I would start the talk is, again, we start the video 18 minutes before the seminar. If your seminar is at 6 o'clock, you turn the video on at 5:42. If it's at 11:30, you turn it on at 11:12. And you let the thing run. People are coming in the seminar, and they can relate to this stuff. This is stuff they saw when they were 20 years old or 35. They relate to this. You get them laughing, right? So we get them in a good mood. Now, what happens right at 6 o'clock, we start the seminar at 11:30. You don't wait if somebody's late. You respect the people's time, in my opinion, that got there. So we start right on time, and we end right on time also. Fair enough? Okay, so what I usually do when the tape's running, because I don't know where the tape's going to be when I start, I say, everybody, thank you guys for being here. My name is Scott Garcia. I am the president of Premier Estate and Income Planning. The actual videotape is 45 more minutes. I could let it go. I'll go get something to eat and come back, or I could start talking right now. What would you guys like me to do? And they always say, well, so they picked me. I say, well, very good. That's pretty good. You picked me over professional comedians. I really appreciate it. And then I say, I'm really glad you guys are here because tonight you're going to, am I okay? Oh, was that you? Okay, good. Okay, I'm making sure. I thought he was giving me a signal. Help me out. Tonight what's going to happen is you guys are going to hear some things you've never heard before in your entire life. And you can't get this information anywhere else. We have an exclusive on our platform in my area. So I'm really excited you guys are here. Here's the problem I see. As I travel around the country, here's what I know. Most people, including you here tonight, probably don't know if you need an estate plan. If you finally find out you need one, you probably wouldn't know who to call. And when you call somebody, you don't know what it should cost. And once you find out what it costs and you have it, you don't know how to change it. See, estate planning is kind of a mysterious subject. Wouldn't you agree? You probably thought about it in the past, but you don't know who to call, what it should cost. So I'm going to demystify all that tonight. By the time I get done over the next 4 hours, just make sure you're listening, you'll know if you need an estate plan. I guarantee you that. You're going to know in about an hour and 15 minutes if you should know an estate plan. Now, the key is I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it, the only plan I know where you have a one-time flat fee, and the only plan I know of you can have 100% control. Now, I just said a whole lot. I made a bunch of promises, didn't I? I'm really glad you're here because you can't get that anywhere else. And then I proceed. Brad's helped me out on this. Go ahead, Brad. I'm going to start out with a quiz. Our company, has anybody heard of the company Integrated Trust Systems? ITS? No, that's okay. We've been around since 1985, 38 years. We provide education on estate planning. We're all about education. Let me kind of set the stage for everybody tonight. Let me give you a couple statistics. First of all, I have an article in my office. The article is from caring.com. It's May of 2020. Here's what the article says. You might want to write this down on your note sheet we provided to you. Here's the quotation. In the next 20 years, 90 million families will be affected by probate. I'm going to say it again. Over the next 20 years, 90 million families will be affected by probate. Now, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. But if I take 90 million, divide that by 20 years, divide that by 50 states, divide it by 260 working days a year, has anybody figured that one out yet? The answer is 346. What that tells me is on average, in our country, every state in our country, every day, there's 346 probate cases opened every single day in every state in our country. Where I'm from in Missouri, and if you live in Florida, or Kansas, or Pennsylvania, California, 346 a day. Anybody think that's a problem? That's a huge problem. Number two, LexisNexis tells us that Americans, we as a group, spend $2 billion a year in probate fees. $2 billion with a B. Now, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, Brian. It took me a week to figure this out, but I took $2 billion. I divided that by 50 states and 260 working days a year. Guess what the answer is, Jonathan? It's $153,000 a day. Whatever state you live in, if that statistic is correct, the state you live in is going to collect $153,000 in probate fees today and tomorrow, and where I live, and when you live, and you live every single day. Do you think we got a problem in our country? We got a huge problem. Now, let me give you the third fact, and this is really a big one. Write this down. Probate is 100% completely avoidable. Nobody has to go through probate. In fact, nobody should go through probate. Well, why do we have so many people going through probate? Why is it so expensive? Let me give you the answer to that question. You want to guess, Lewis, why people might go through probate, Lewis?
They don't have estate plan.
I like that answer. 2 reasons I like that answer. Number 1, they don't know. Most people don't know. That might be you. I guarantee it. 7:15 tonight, you're going to know if you need an estate plan. Number 2 is procrastination. They find out they should do something, but they put it off. Procrastination, real good at doing nothing. See, I'm really glad you guys are here tonight. We're going to give you an opportunity to have a free consultation, but if you don't come in, you're probably going to procrastinate. You're not going to do anything at all. And again, I'm going to show you the easiest way to do that. The most cost-effective, the only way you can have control. So I really implore you guys to come in for the free consultation to learn more. Is that fair enough? All right, so let's keep on track. I'm going to start out with a quiz. Who can tell me who this is right on the screen right there? Anybody? Yeah, shout it out. Go ahead. Red Fox from my hometown, St. Louis, Missouri. Red Fox, go ahead, Brad. I'm thanking Brad, too. He's helping me with the keyboard. Who's that? Most trusted man in America, 1960, 1970. Go ahead. Barry White. Who's that, Brad? Thank you, Brad. Who's that? You guys are awesome. Who's this? Very good. Next. Babe Ruth. Gave you a clue on that one. There's a clue. There it is. Okay. Very good. Very good. Last one. Now, let me ask you a question. Why would we invite you to an estate planning seminar and put 13 celebrities on the screen? Just like all the people I mentioned, us, celebrities go through probate too. All those people put their family through probate. In my office, there's 64 celebrities in my office on the walls. They all went through probate. Now, some of these people did some planning. But Abraham Lincoln didn't know he was going to get shot at Ford's Theater that Saturday night, and Prince didn't know he was going to die in an elevator at 51 years old. See, stuff happens we don't know is going to happen, and people go through probate. But all these people put their family through probate. Some smart people, they all had advisors, but they maybe put it off. So what we want to do tonight is make sure you guys aren't in that 90 million, remember? We want to lower that 90 million. So my company's Premier Estate and Income Planning. We talked about that. I'm founder of the company, Premier Estate and Income Planning. I'm a St. Louis native. Been in the business 36 years, 1,000 clients. The reason I'm in front of you tonight is right here. When I was 18 years old, a doctor told me I had 3 weeks to live. Scott, you got an isolated tumor. It's on your chest. It's about the size of a softball. We suggest you go home from college. You got 3 weeks to live. Now, that was a really pretty bad day in my life. But the good news is I had capacity. See, I got home and I picked my doctor and the hospital and the plan of treatment. I always think back and ask myself, man, what if I'd have been in a car accident away at college and they called my parents and my parents drove 2 hours down to school and I'm in intensive care in a coma without the proper documents? What power would my parents have had when I was 18 years old? Who said that? Lewis is correct. 0. 0. First question I always want to ask you is my audience. Who in this room has a single adult child over 18? Heaven forbid you get a call this Saturday night at 2:30 in the morning that your son or daughter's been in a car accident and you better get to the hospital. And you're driving to the hospital and you're thinking, I hope that guy was wrong who talked at the library last week. But guess what? I'm not wrong. And you got a problem. See, you just entered the 90 million people we just talked about. We can't put this off. This isn't like, let's see if the tires are on sale at Costco. I think the Subarus are on sale this weekend. You got to get the documents in a row. I just saw an article on MSN, 2 people, 24 years old, leaving their wedding reception, or their wedding ceremony, going to the reception hall, didn't make it. They're killed in a car. We don't know what's going to happen. See, our job is to make sure you guys are prepared. Does that make sense? The only reason we exist is to educate you and make sure you're prepared. That's all we want to do tonight. Thanks, Brad. We've been on Channel 2. We're on Channel 2 News about twice a month in St. Louis. We give a lot of information. They call us all the time. We've been in the newspaper. This article says 21st century estate planning has arrived. Let me say this to you. I'm going to borrow. I'll fake it. Let me say this to you. There's two ways to do estate planning. Number one, the old traditional book trust. Maybe you guys have seen a book trust or saw paper. That's a traditional way to do it. That's okay. We can do that for you. We do a book trust. But 21st century planning has arrived. See, what happens if you have a book trust, or one of your clients has a book trust, how do they change the book trust? Thank you. First of all, you got to call the attorney. Well, any good attorney's probably going to put you off for a week or two. So you get to the attorney's office. The attorney says, well, you know, Sue and Jim, I'm really glad you guys came in. Oh, you had the new grandbaby, and you sold your property, you got a new bank account. Oh, you rolled your IRA to another company, and oh, you got an inheritance. And did you know the state we live in passed a couple laws last year? You know what, Jim and Sue, you probably don't want to sit here for 4 hours while I make all the changes. Why don't you guys just go home? I'll do all the changes. I'm going to mail you the papers in about a week, Brian. When you get the papers, put them in your book. But before you leave, Brian, see Sarah at the front desk. You owe us $2,000. Anybody like that process? See, the problem is when you have a book trust, nothing wrong with a book trust. The client has zero control. Zero. You can't change the book trust. You can't go in there and line something out and initial it, write in the margin, white it out. You can't change a book trust. See, the reason I bring that up is 21st century estate planning has arrived. Our clients can actually log in to their estate plan from their kitchen table or from their phone if they're at home or at the beach in Florida or in Hawaii, and they can make any change they want as often as they want, whenever they want, as many times as they want. 100% control. Who in this room wants to have control on their estate plan? Well, you need to come in for the free consultation because you can't get this information anywhere else. Nobody else has this in my area except you, except me. That would be a reason to come see us, okay? Thank you, Brad. We're on the radio. We get a lot of calls from the radio show. People don't know a lot about estate planning. We get a lot of calls on the radio show because people don't know a lot about estate planning. The other benefit to our platform is this is me in the middle, but this is an estate planning attorney. So is that. So is that. This is a funding specialist. This guy owns a trust company. This is a tax lawyer. See, we have an entire team to support you because I can't know everything. I don't know everything, Brian. In fact, I probably don't know what I should know, but I do know this. I know a lot of people who know a lot of stuff. You'd be kind of hard-pressed in this area of St. Louis to find anybody who has 3 estate planning attorneys, a tax lawyer, a trust company, a Medicare specialist, and a funding specialist. In fact, I don't think it exists. So one of the reasons I want to come see me is I have an entire team, 250 years of experience. They all are available to you guys for the one-time flat fee. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Wouldn't you agree? You need to come see us. That's our entire team. And then our attorneys, Ed Kaiser. Keep going pretty quick. Ed Kaiser. These are our 4 attorneys, Jennifer Cermak, Sarah Lister, and Chelsea Keller. All great attorneys that represent our company. I'm going to concentrate on Ed Kaiser. Ed Kaiser right here. Has anybody heard the company Remax Results Realty Company? It's a nationwide company. If you Google Ed Kaiser, he's their general counsel. He's their #1 corporate attorney of the whole entire company, and he'd be your attorney. He likes our platform so much, he'd be your attorney. He's a 10-year attorney, graduated magna cum laude of University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, and got his Juris Doctorate St. Paul, in St. Paul, Minnesota. Great attorney. He would be your attorney. Get ready to learn. Number 1, what if there's no legacy plan in place? Here's what I do know, guys. The mere fact you're here, you guys have done well. See, we don't mail to people who don't have any assets. So I know you guys have all done well, and you all look healthy. That's awesome. But the problem is, what if you don't have a legacy plan in place? What if you haven't planned? Here's what I do know. Probably you guys have a couple pieces of property, a lake house, maybe some rental property. You've got a nice 401k or IRA. You got money in the bank, 2 grandkids, 4 great-grandkids. You got jet skis. Everything's going great. But what if you don't have a legacy plan in place? What if you haven't planned it out properly? What if you're using a POD and a TOD and a beneficiary deed? What if you're using beneficiary designations on your IRA? We'll talk about that. Those could all be problematic. So what if you don't have a legacy plan in place? Well, if you don't have this in place, you might enter the 90 million we talked about. Number 2, I'm going to go through 7 everyday situations that can lead to emotional and tragic results and how to prepare for those. How to write the ultimate love note to your family. Let me ask you a facetious question. Who in this room wants to put their family through probate? Well, I do know this. About 80% of you, if certain things happen, will put your family through probate because you're unprepared. You'll know that when I go through the 7 everyday situations. How to develop a tax-free income. I don't know who it is in this audience, but there are a certain percentage of people in this audience right now that could retire 100% income tax-free. You can make $100,000 in our country, or $200,000, and pay no taxes. You don't got to pay federal tax, state tax, or tax on your Social Security if you can set it up correctly. I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying certain people. So you might want to come in for that analysis because we might be able to help you with that. And then this one right here. Thank you. I have an article in my office. The article says 50% of all retirees pay tax on their Social Security. Is anybody in the room paying tax on their Social Security? 50% do. Now let me say this to you. Go home and look this one up. Social Security is not taxable. In the IRS code, it's tax-free. It's not taxable. Why are you paying tax on Social Security? Here's why. When you retire, there's two types of income. Now, I'm 60 years old. I like all income. Ross, I like it all. But when you're retired, there's bad income and good income. Bad income is income that shows up on your tax return. Distributions from an IRA, 401k, your pension, if you're working. That's all bad income. It goes on the tax return. If your bad income amount is too high, you got to pay tax on your Social Security, up to 50, sometimes 50%, all the way up to 85% tax on Social Security. Now, some people we can't help, but some we can. See, some people we can take the bad income and turn it into good income. If you're taking $50,000 out of your IRA and it's bad income showing up on your tax return, it could cause your Social Security to be taxed. But if we can turn the $50,000 into good income, and you can still receive the $50,000, Michelle, but legally it doesn't go in the tax return, well, you can receive it tax-free, and we might be able to lower your Social Security tax or eliminate it. That might be a reason to come see us. See, if your current advisor isn't having these conversations, I have a concern, because this exists. See, if your current advisor hasn't brought this stuff up, there's only two reasons, Chuck. Number one, he doesn't know how to do it, or she doesn't know how to do it, or they didn't care to tell you. Which one do you think it is, Chuck? Don't know. So that means, right, be ready to see us. Go ahead. Everybody's got a questionnaire. Everybody's got a 2-page questionnaire. Please fill that out. Go ahead, Brett. We're going to have you fill this out. Please fill out the top of the questionnaire, please. And in the middle, as I go through this presentation, if I say anything you have interest in, have a question about, have a concern about, a worry about, please circle a day and time on the front of that. It says Monday through Saturday. I think it says 9 to 5. Circle a day and time. That'll prompt me to call you for an appointment. That says you want me to call you. Okay? I would implore you to do that because a lot of the stuff I want to explain to you, I can't explain today. I'm just giving you an overview. Everybody knows where the restrooms are. And please write your questions on the handout we provided. We cannot take any questions tonight. If I take one, I got to take 40. We'll be too late, and you won't like me anymore. So no questions. Please write them down. The question will be answered in the free consultation. Okay, go ahead. I want to start out with a story real quick. Now, this story has to do with estate planning. I'm going to embellish it a little bit, but it's true. This story happened many years ago in Southwest Texas. There was a very successful farmer named Jed. Has anybody heard of a farmer named Jed? Okay, Jed was a very successful guy. This was his property. That's his house. That's his servants' quarters. That's all his land back there. A very successful guy. And Jed had a concern. See, Jed had just lost his wife. And he had a small family. All he had was his beautiful daughter, Ellie Mae. And his concern was, man, statistically, I'm going to die first. I'm going to leave everything to Ellie Mae. That might not be the best thing to do. Not that she's a female, because every man in this room knows the female sex is by far the superior sex. We all know that. However, it's a lot to leave to one person. So Jed was concerned. So guess what Jed did? Jed did what I did. Jed did a mailing. He mailed to the 25 most successful bachelors in the surrounding counties to come to his house on a Saturday night. And guess what? They all showed up. And there they are. They had a great time in Jed's backyard. And at midnight, Jed said, okay, you guys that came and ate all my food, come back to my backyard. I want to talk to you guys. So they went back to his backyard. So it was an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And he lined them up right here on this ledge, all 25 guys. And Jed said the following. Gentlemen, the real reason I had you come out here tonight is I wanted to maybe find out who might be the most eligible bachelor, most person that's qualified to marry my beautiful daughter, Ellie Mae. And in fact, the first guy who has the courage to jump in this swimming pool, considering there's alligators and water moccasin and piranhas, the first guy to jump in this pool, the courage to do that and make it to the other side, the skill to do that, he goes, I'll give you one of three wishes. Number one, he goes, I'll give you $1 million cash. Well, the ear's all perked up. He said, if you don't want the money, he goes, I'm going to give you 10,000 acres of my very, very best land. He goes, if you don't want the money of the land, he goes, I'm going to give you my beautiful daughter's hand in marriage. Keep in mind, if you marry my daughter, you get everything. Well, the words went out of this guy's mouth, and there was a splash at one end of the pool. which was followed by the emergence of the same guy. He made it in 4.6 seconds with unscathed, set a world record. And the farmer ran over and said, son, that's fantastic, man. I guess you want the $1 million cash. And the guy said, no, sir. He said, well, I guess you want the 10,000 acres of my very, very best land. The guy said, no, sir. He said, well, congratulations, Jonathan. You get my beautiful daughter's hand in marriage. Welcome to the family. And Jonathan said, no, sir. All due respect, I don't want to marry your daughter. And the farmer was completely perplexed. The farmer said, well, son, what in the heck do you want? And the guy said, I want to know the name of that guy who pushed me in the swimming pool. You see, sometimes we're pushed in the proverbial swimming pool. When I was 18 years old, and they told me, Scott, you got 3 weeks to live, man. That was a pretty bad day. See, as you guys leave here tonight, 3 hours from now, 3 weeks from now, 3 months from now, 3 years from now, when you get the call, your daughter has been in that car accident. Are you prepared? Your wife's not coming home tonight. There was a terrible accident on the highway, and your brother-in-law died last night. How does that affect your sister? See, these things we can't stop from happening, but we can darn sure make sure you're prepared so it's an easier road for your family. Does that make sense? All we want to do is prepare you. We don't want you guys in the 90 million I just read about. So thanks for laughing, but that's our mission tonight, to make sure you guys aren't in the 90 million. Fair enough? All right, go ahead. How are we doing with other firms? Number one, we have a legal platform, tax, and financial. When you come into the office, we're going to talk about this and this only. Only the legal. Our job is to give you a legal foundation. Now, later on, we can talk about these kind of strategies, tax and financial, but we're going to concentrate on this because that's our job. Number two, go ahead, Brad. Complimentary consultation. I talked about it. As I said before, if I say something, and I probably already said a whole bunch of things. When I mention tax-free income, retire tax-free, don't pay tax on Social Security, your daughter doesn't have a health care power of attorney, probate, those are 5 reasons right there. You should have already circled the day and time on your questionnaire to come see me, but we're going to offer that free consultation. I'm going to give you more reasons to do that as we go on. Also, internet-based option puts you in control. I talked about the book before, right? I talked to you guys about you can't change the book, you can change our platform. Let me give you another reason why you might want to come see us. Now, this book, this trust book, how much does a trust cost? Does anybody know? Rohan says I'd like that guess, $5,000 or $6,000. The national average, actually, what we see is $2,950. But remember, whether it's $5,000, $10,000, $2,950, remember this, most of the time when you go to a law firm, it's not the cost. It's the initial cost. That's the cost to set it up. That's not the cost. See what happens if a legal team, my opinion, a woman, man, whoever the lawyer is, if you said, what's an estate plan going to cost me? He would have to ask you, well, please tell me when you're going to pass away. Tell me when your spouse is going to pass away, in what order. Is anybody going to the nursing home? How many grandkids are you going to have? How many great-grandkids? How many times are you going to change your bank account? How many times is your daughter going to get divorced? Is there going to be any incapacity of your son? Is your daughter going to die before you? How many times will your state law change? Are you going to get an inheritance? See, if you can tell the attorney all that stuff now, they can come pretty close, but it ain't $10,000. It might be $30,000 because you got to pay for the changes as you go. Do you understand? Everybody understand that? See, the reason I bring that up is with our platform, I mentioned it before, we have a one-time flat fee. Our clients only pay one time. Wouldn't it be great, Brian, to come in and pay one time for your trust documents, never pay again the rest of your life? You can't get that anywhere else, Brian. That's why you need to circle the day and time. If you guys like the one-time flat fee, you must circle the day and time on your questionnaire right now so I know to call you tomorrow. Does that make sense? All right, go ahead. Home of the estate plan, it's the last estate plan you'll ever need. You only pay one time for the documents. And we partner with Crawford Trust. Now, if you do an estate plan, you are the grantor, settlor, creator. You are in control. You make all the decisions. But you have to name a successor trustee. Somebody, a person, people, or entity that run your trust if you become incapacitated to die. You can name your oldest son, or the daughter you trust the most, or your brother. You can do that. Only problem is they got to be alive, have capacity, and want to do it when you die. Some of you are going to live 25 years still, 30 years. Well, if you name your 32-year-old son the trustee, when you die, he's 62. Is he going to do it? Is he going to be here? We don't know. So that's always a risk. So what we have an option. You can still name your son, your daughter, your cousin. You can do that. But we have an option, Crawford Trust. Crawford Trust is a trust company. They are in charge of distributing the assets. See, if you name me your trustee, Michelle, and you die, when your sister says to me, Scott, my sister promised me all her jewelry, Who's in the middle of it now? You put me in harm's way. If I don't give your sister the jewelry, she doesn't like me anymore. We don't talk for 10 Christmases. I'm just telling you it's a problem, potentially. So for that reason, we offer Crawford Trust. You don't have to use Crawford Trust, but I'm going to put Greg Crawford, the president of the company, on for 90 seconds to tell you why you might want to consider a corporate trustee. Not a requirement, just something we offer. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Greg Crawford, President and CEO of Crawford Trust Company. Who is Crawford Trust Company? At its core, it's a team of people that have worked together for more than a decade, delivering professional corporate trustee services to families around the country. Together, we have over 100 years of trust and estates experience, and we bring that knowledge and expertise to every case that we work on. A number of people will ask, why would I choose a corporate trustee rather than a family member or a trusted friend? Anyone who's actually settled an estate knows it's a job, and it's a job that has to be done properly, timely, and with expertise and care. Family members often don't have this time or experience, and that's where a corporate trustee can really add value. Corporate trustees are also very good at sorting out politics within a family that are often brought to the surface when a loved one passes away. A corporate trustee can handle all of these kinds of aspects of estate settlement in a much more efficient and timely fashion than most friends and family members. If you have any questions about Crawford Trust?
Okay, enough said. As I said before, if you name your son the trustee, that's fine, but your son has to become a fiduciary. Your son can be sued. If your son sells the house and the daughter doesn't think you got enough money, she could sue your son. There's a bunch of problems with naming people trustees. If you don't believe me, when you go home, just Google it. Google, if I have an estate plan, should I name a person? There's not been one article I've ever seen that says yes. People do it all the time, don't get me wrong. But most of the time, it's a corporate trustee. The good news is we have one to offer. You don't have to use them, but we have an option. Make sense? Okay, awesome. Go ahead. I'm going to read you the headline of this article. Some of you know this, some of you don't. 64% of all Fortune 500 companies are Delaware incorporated. Did somebody know that? Some of you did. Some of you don't know that. Let's go through this a little bit. What this article relates to is something called jurisdictional shopping. Please write down jurisdictional shopping. Jurisdictional shopping says, well, even though I'm a Missouri resident, if I found a really good deal on a Corvette this afternoon at lunch, could I buy a Corvette in North Carolina? I could. I could drive it to Missouri, couldn't I? Darn right. And if you came to Missouri, you could buy my house, couldn't you? Even though you're a resident of North Carolina, let's say. See, jurisdictional shopping. The reason I bring this up is most big companies incorporate through Delaware because of tax benefits and legal protections. Let me give you some examples. Has anybody ever heard of the company Microsoft? Very good. Where's Microsoft's home office? Seattle? Close enough? Good. I like it. Seattle, Washington State. If you look it up, they're incorporated through Delaware. They don't use Washington State law. What about Coca-Cola? Where's Coca-Cola's home office? Atlanta, Georgia. Very good. Atlanta, Georgia. Victor. Atlanta, Georgia. Guess what? Coca-Cola is incorporated through Delaware. What about AT&T? Where's AT&T's home office? Texas. I heard Texas. Correct. They're incorporated through Delaware. So is Dell Computer, Del Monte Foods, eBay, Amazon. A little bitty company in Bentonville, Arkansas. You may have heard of them. Walmart. I mean, I wasn't there, but at some point in time, the attorneys probably went to Sam Walton and said, hey, Sam, there's something called jurisdictional shopping. We can incorporate through Delaware. And Sam goes, well, what does that mean? Well, Sam, we incorporate through Delaware. We can save, I'm using just figures, we can save $2 billion in taxes. Well, that's pretty good. And Sam, if we ever get sued, Delaware is a very pro-corporation state. We're going to probably win every lawsuit because they find corporations to the favor all the time. That's a good idea. They incorporate through Delaware. Only because of jurisdictional shopping can they do that. That's a high level of jurisdictional shopping. The lower level, you guys have already probably taken advantage of this. Has anybody ever bought a car out of state or property out of state? You've already used jurisdictional shopping. The estate planning is no different. Just because you live in Pennsylvania doesn't mean you have to use Pennsylvania law when you do your estate plan. I live in Missouri for 60 years. I don't have a Missouri trust. And they're ranked pretty high. It's just that they're not the best. Okay? There are things out there that are better than Missouri law. So I chose to use my jurisdictional shopping privileges. You guys can too. Here's why we say that. We've already done the research. This is the 10th annual Domestic Asset Protection Trust State Rankings. Click the button. Thanks. I'll make it bigger. This has to do with the Asset Protection Trust. This is a specialized trust, but it piggybacks off Nevada law. Nevada is ranked number 1 in this ranking. South Dakota, Ohio, Missouri, New Hampshire, Tennessee, Delaware, Arkansas. Nevada is ranked number 1. This is 2 years ago. Last year, 11th annual, there it is right there. Make it bigger, please. There you go. 11th annual, Nevada is ranked number 1. South Dakota, Ohio, Missouri. So Nevada has some of the best trust laws in the United States. And because of jurisdictional shopping, although you might live in Texas, you can get Nevada law. Or you live in California or Tennessee or North Carolina or Missouri, you can get Nevada law. Does that make sense? You're probably wondering why Nevada is ranked number 1, correct? Here's the answer. Please write this down. This is a big reason why you might want to come see me. Nevada is the only state in our country that has codified all the laws electronically, and they recognize e-signatures throughout the whole process. I'm going to say it again. Nevada is the only state in our country that has codified all the laws electronically, and they recognize e-signatures throughout. So using Nevada law, you can do a whole bunch of things your state might not be able to let you do. I can't log into my Missouri trust from my kitchen table. I can with my Nevada trust. I can't change my Missouri trust from my kitchen table. I got to go to the attorney and pay a fee. I can change my Nevada trust. Do you understand? Don't get me wrong, we'll do either. We'll do a book, but you guys have the option with our program to have technology be your benefit, okay? So again, Nevada law, we talk about that. When you come in, we'll talk about that. There's actually 8 reasons why Nevada is a leading trust situs. We'll talk about that when you come in the office. And then how we're able to help you guys. How can we help you guys? Go ahead. Number 1, what's better, a will or a trust? Trust. Most people say trust. You probably need to have both. Our attorneys would tell you need to have both. Our platform provides both. Financial growth and protection. Can you grow your money with 100%? Has anybody lost any money? I know the market's really good right now, but anybody lost any money in October of last year? Okay. Just because you're retired doesn't mean you have to take a risk with your money. We have programs where you can put money and you can have 100% safety and still have your money grow. You can get percentages of the market gain. Not all the gain, but keep the percentage you get and never take a loss. That might be a reason to come in and see us. Tax planning strategy, we talked about that. What if you're sitting here in this room right now, you're a married couple, your Social Security is $60,000 a year combined, which is typical, it's only $2,500 a month each. What if you're that couple and nobody's ever brought up tax mitigation and you're paying tax at 85% of that $60,000 and it could be zero? What if you're that couple? Wouldn't that be a shame if you ever came in and found out? See, just because your advisor hasn't brought this up doesn't mean they don't care about you. They just don't know how to do it, didn't care to tell you. See, we do care, and we might be able to show you that. So that's one reason you might want to come in. We might be able to help you out. And what if you can retire tax-free? These are all reasons to come see us. We talked about that. Go ahead. All right. Why we exist, why we're here. Let's go through this. First of all, can anybody take a guess? What percentage of people in our country, based on this article, just a guess, have a will? Anybody want to guess? 30%, I like it. Anybody else? 5? 15? Okay, let's see. It's actually 40%. Okay? 40%. Now, that's a lot of people. 40% of people have a will. Now, that's good, but please write this down. A will by itself, and that's all somebody has, guarantees that family probate. A will guarantees probate. A will is a public document, must be read in probate court. If that's all somebody has, it's a guaranteed probate. Most people don't know that. So people find out and say, well, that's not enough. I need to do something, so let's get a trust. So they get a trust. Anybody want to take a guess? How many people in our country have a trust? Anybody want to guess? 15? Good guess. 17%. Based on this article, have a trust. Now, here's the question. Does a trust avoid probate? Yes, no, maybe? Maybe, no? Yes? If you said yes, you're right. No, you're right. And maybe you're right. Okay, it all depends, right? See, the key is the book trust. See, what happens is you can take a book trust and you can go spend $5,000, $10,000, get it notarized, it's all signed, take it home, and you have a trust book. Great. But if you leave, if the law firm lets you leave, or you leave the house in your name, the lake house in your name, the rental property in your name, the bank account in your name, the CD in your name, the car in your name, the RV in your name, when you die, even though you have a trust, when your kids go to the county and say, my mom and dad died in a terrible car accident on the highway, you probably saw it in the news. They had the house on number 1 Main Street. They told us kids, we get the house when they died. Last 22 Christmases, that's what they told us. How did we get the house? Well, the county says, well, let's look it up. Well, look at it. Well, it's in your mom and dad's name. It's in their personal name. And you said they died. Can you show us some proof? Yeah, here's their death certificate. Okay, so they're dead. It's in their name. Do you have any legal mechanism that says you guys get the house? No. Well, we have to open a probate file. See, a dead person can't own property. And although they have a trust, the house was never put in the trust. It was in their name. So write this down. Funding avoids probate. Funding. Write down the word funding. Funding has nothing to do with money, nothing to do with transfer of money, making payments. Funding is the retitlement of the asset in the trust name. You got to get the house in the trust name, the rental property in the trust name, the bank accounts in the trust name, the car in the trust name, the RV in the trust name. That's called funding. The problem most of you would have, which I had in Missouri, is because we're using paper, that book, we got to do it by paper. So let's go through this scenario. Let's see how much fun this one is. Let's say you're sitting there in the audience right now and you say, you know what, Scott's got a lot of good information, but he talks too fast. He's got a bald spot. I don't like his tie. I ain't going to come see him. However, I've done a good job because at least you're concerned, so you call an attorney tomorrow. Well, let's go through this process. Call an attorney tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. Can't call an attorney until Monday, right? Right? Am I right? Got to call an attorney Monday. Well, a good attorney's not going to see you for a week or two, so now we're going to be in April. Can't see it. Now, when you go see the attorney, they're going to ask you a bunch of questions. Who gets a house when you die? Do you want to protect your kids against a lawsuit and divorce? Who gets the Mickey Mantle baseball card, your jewelry? Where does it all go? The attorney's going to say, I got everything you want here, Joe and Sue. I got everything you want, but give me 30 days to put it in the book. Come back in May. I'll have the book done. By the way, you owe us $4,000. Anybody like that so far? So you go back in May to get the book. You already paid $4,000 to get it notarized, and the attorney says, oh, by the way, Joe and Sue, remember funding? We got to do funding. We got to put all those assets. I need a legal description of your property. The first page, your bank account, checking account, money market, your car titles. I need all that stuff here. We're going to hire a paralegal to write letters to the DMV, to the bank, to the mortgage company, to the county. By the way, it's going to cost $1,000 in that example. Give me all that stuff. We're going to do the funding. We're going to mail the letters out. Wait 30 days. Now we're going to wait till June. What happens in June, maybe the bank writes back and says, hey, you know, Joe and Sue, we got a letter from the bank. Says that you've established a trust. We think that's a wonderful idea. Says you want to fund the trust. We got a letter from a paralegal that says you want to, and that's a great, the letter is pretty good, but we don't accept anybody else's paperwork. We actually need our own paperwork. Take our paperwork with the book, go back down to the bank, get it renotarized, mail it again, and wait till July. Anybody like that process? See, what happens is, because of all these processes, a lot of trusts don't get funded. Some law firms don't even bring it up. They'll give you a pamphlet. They don't want to fund the trust. Funding is critical, and often it's not done. Now, that process could take till October or never be done because the onus of funding falls on the client in most cases, my experience. Now, anybody like that process? See, why would you want to come see me? Well, I already told you we have a one-time flat fee for the documents. We'll give you a discount when you come in, first time. Number two, you have 100% control. Change anything you want to, anytime you want to, as often as you want to. And here's the real cool one. Chris, I don't know, have we ever met before, Chris? You look like a successful guy, man. Let's say Chris is worth $10 million. Chris, using our platform, guess how quick, remember funding is critical, right? Using our platform, Chris, guess how quick I can fund your trust? 1 hour. And we do all the work. So your choices are this. Don't do anything. Go get a book. I just talked to you about that. Good luck. I have 2 words for that. Good luck. Number 3, come see me, pay a one-time flat fee, have 100% control, and let us fund it for you in an hour. Anybody like that? Need to circle a day and time on your sheet right now so you can come see me. You don't circle a day and time, you're going to put it off. If you don't circle a day and time, I'm not even going to call you. Please circle a day and time right now. Go ahead. Finding this article. Number 1, half the people in this article said estate planning is for the ultra-rich. Does anybody know the cutoff for probate in your state? Anybody know? The monetary cutoff for probate in your state. In Missouri, it's $40,000. Michigan, $15,000. Illinois, $100,000. Florida, $100,000. Texas, $75,000 cash, $100,000 property. It's not very much. Would anybody consider somebody with $100,000 a wealthy person? Anybody? Help me out, guys. Anybody? No. Okay. Probate thresholds are very low. Most people are a candidate for, if you've got $100,000 of asset in your name, you're a candidate for probate. So that's a fallacy. Number two, 25% of people haven't spoken to their family about their death. I can see that. Can you imagine? Hey, kids, it's going to be a nice weekend this weekend. Come on over. Me and the wife are going to talk to you about how we're going to die. It's not going to happen. You're not going to have that conversation. But what you could do is come into the office, pay a one-time flat fee, let us fund it for you really quick, get it all taken care of, have 100%. And then you tell your kids, hey, we already got a trust. It's already funded. Call Scott. Call his staff. They got a whole staff. That's the conversation you want to have, isn't it? Well, I would circle a day and time, because you don't circle a day and time, you're not going to come in, right? 49% of the people in this article said their assets weren't enough to consider an estate plan. What did it tell you the cutoff was? $100,000, right? So that's a fallacy. And then here's the best one. Now, I told you guys a will guarantees probate. A lot of you don't believe me. I'm going to read you the definition in about 6 slides. But still, some of you don't believe me. But here's the problem. If all you have is a will guarantees probate, most people, the general public, think 61% think a will is enough to meet their estate planning needs. Do you think the legal profession has done a subpar job of educating the public? Anybody think that? I mean, shouldn't this be taught in high school? I was in high school 7 years, man. They never brought it up one time. It was actually 6, right? 35% of the people in this article have known about a family dynamic, a problem when somebody died. Do you know of anybody who died and the brothers don't talk anymore? And the sister doesn't talk to the cousin? See, I haven't talked to my brother in 24 years. I didn't know where the guy lives. And the last thing my mom wanted to do is have us fight. But guess what? She didn't write anything down. See, I'm talking about my family, but I'm also talking about yours. See, your family's not going to fight over the money, but they will fight over the grandfather clock and the war medals and the little porcelain elephant you used to take to bingo and the Navy T-shirt and the baseball cards. See, everybody in this room needs to have some type of platform where you can log in whenever you want to and say, the Mickey Mantle baseball card goes to my grandson. I want to leave a video to my granddaughter, to my spouse. See, we can do that with our platform. The book, not so much. And in fact, the book, in my opinion, is one of the most impersonal things I've ever seen. People don't even know what the book says. That's a pretty big deal. And then 46% of all people in this article said they want to know more about learn more about estate. Has anybody learned something so far? All right, we're on track. Go ahead. Estate planning, here we go. Why might you need an estate plan? Here's when I get to be the bad guy. I'm going to go through 7 everyday situations that probably happened in your state today, or will happen in your state today. The question is going to be, are you prepared? Now, as I bring these up, you're going to have some concerns. You might nudge your spouse or think to yourself, man, I don't know if I got that covered. Oh, how come nobody told me about that one? When we do that, I'm just making you aware of the problem. See, the only reason we're bringing this up is we have a solution. For every one of these, I'm going to show you a solution when you come in the office. Let's go through these. First of all, you're in a car accident. Now, on your questionnaire on the back, all these questions are on there. So follow along on the back of that sheet. All the questions are listed. You're a single person. You're over 18. That's you in that car. But you're not in the car because you're incapacitated. Or you're a married couple and you're both in the car, but you're not in the car, you're incapacitated. And just by chance, the state trooper in the state you live in finds a note in the lady's purse or the man's wallet that says Richard, and there's a phone number. So the state trooper calls Richard, hey, Richard, this is North Carolina State Trooper Porter. I'm giving you a call real quick. Do you know such and such a person? And Richard goes, well, yeah, wait, now you're a state trooper. That's my mom and dad. What do you call me for? Richard, there's been a terrible car accident. We're transporting these people to the hospital. You better get up there. So what does Richard do? Richard calls his sisters. There they are. Adult children go to the hospital. See, your kids go in the hospital. What's going on, my mom and dad? What's going on? Hold on a second. The administrator says, who are you? We're the kids of Joe and Sam. Really? How do we know that? See, the problem is they don't know that, and you got a problem. Who's going to make your decision? Don't be in that position. I would say this. Think about your kids. Your kids are thinking, hold on a second. Mom and dad taught us to go to school, work hard, be honest. They got the lake house and the rental property. They got the nice, they've done everything. They had this one piece of paper. No. They thought about it a lot. They never got around to it. In fact, they went to a seminar at the library. Guy was talking too fast, had a bald spot, didn't like his tie. Then everyone saw him. Don't be that person. Come see us, guys. I can do a healthcare power of attorney in 10 seconds. You can't even see the attorney in most cases for a week. Write down on the front of the page, circle a day and time now. Now's the time. Don't let this happen. Don't be part. You just entered probate. You entered living probate for your family. Number one on the back of on the questionnaire. Circle that. Number two, who in this room is using beneficiaries on their IRA? Who in this room, your insurance agent, your stockbroker, your banker said, you know what, on your IRA, Joe, put your wife first and your kids contingent. My experience has been about 90%. That's what people do. Now, that's okay. That might work, but I'm going to give you 10 reasons why it won't work. If you're just using beneficiary designations, you're having a problem in 10 situations. 10. Not one or two subtle things. 10. Let me explain this to you. See, this gentleman has a large IRA. He named his spouse the primary beneficiary, the son contingent. That's what his insurance agent said to do. Well, what happened is the guy died in a car accident. The wife was in the passenger seat, and the son was in the back seat. They couldn't tell who died first, so guess what? The entire account went through probate. They just entered 90 million families that went through probate. Now we got fees, probably a 6-month temporary injunction. It's going to go on the internet. Now you can get to see it. Anybody like probate? That's a beneficiary designation. Now, I know what you're saying, Scott. That's probably not going to happen, man. I agree. It's probably not going to happen, but it could happen. Now, here's what I would say, though. If this happens, see what happens when you name the spouse and the kids. You're going to say to me, well, Scott, it's okay. My son died. I have 2 other daughters. They're going to split the money. We're going to avoid probate. You're 100% correct. We're going to avoid probate. Your daughters get the money, but guess what you did? When your son died, there's no lineage. You just unintentionally disinherited your grandkids. Was that your intention when you named the beneficiary? What did your broker say about that one, Steve? He never brought it up? He either doesn't know, Steve, or didn't care to tell you. Which one do you think it is? I'd probably call him tomorrow and find out. But we know how to help you with this. If this is your situation, you need to circle a day and time right now because we can solve this real quick. Anybody? My experience has been people like their kids. They love their grandkids. Don't disinherit your grandkids. Please come see me. We can fix this. Go ahead. Number 3. Go ahead. That's number 2. Number 3, joint tenancy. This is Bert and Martha. Whoops. This is Bert and Martha. Bert and Martha are retired. They love their daughter, Sarah. They trust Sarah. She's real sharp. So they decide, you know what, I'm going to avoid probate. I don't want to buy a trust. That'd be too expensive. I'm going to use what is called joint tenancy. I'm going to put my daughter on the house and the bank account. Joint tenancy is an awesome strategy until it's not an awesome strategy. See, if you put Sarah on the house and the bank account, if they die, she gets the house, no probate. But guess what happens 6 months later? Knucklehead wants a divorce. You put your daughter in your property bank account, now your son-in-law wants a divorce. And he hires an attorney. And the attorney says, hey, I just did a skip trace. Did you know that your soon-to-be ex-wife 6 months ago or last year, her parents put her on their house and the bank account? And your son-in-law goes, what does that mean? Well, we can make an argument, marital property. You were married when she did it. Yeah, let's do that one. So think about this. You just retired. You got a $400,000 house. Everything's going great in your retirement. And now you got to go to the bank to get a check for $200,000. And the banker goes, man, Joe, that's awesome. What are you going to put in a swimming pool? Are you going to take the grandkids around the world in a cruise? No. I'm going to go pay off my soon-to-be ex-son-in-law who just broke my daughter's heart because you told me 3 years ago to put her on. Why'd you tell me to do it? You didn't tell me the bad stuff. Joint tenancy is not a good strategy. What if your daughter's in a lawsuit? What if you put your daughter in the house and the property, the bank account, and she's in a car accident? 3 babies are killed, heaven forbid. Wasn't even her fault. But that family's going to sue your daughter for $1 million. She calls State Farm. What's my insurance? Well, you only bought the minimum in Missouri, $450,000. Well, I'm getting sued for $1 million. Well, you got a problem. See, how would you like to lose your entire property possibly? As soon as you put somebody in your property, you assume all their liability. Not a good strategy. Would you agree? What if your daughter files bankruptcy? Let's say your daughter has a flower shop. Everything's going great till 2020. Who could see COVID coming? Nobody. But she's got a flower shop. Now she can't put a flower in the nursing home or the hospital. You can't even deliver a flower to somebody's house. She goes bankrupt. Bankruptcy court finds out she's on your house, Chris. You got a problem, Chris. Joint tenancy is a terrible strategy. I know what you're trying to do. With an estate plan, we can do that correctly with no risk at all. If you're using joint tenancy, please circle a day and time on the sheet so you can come see us. Go ahead. Number 4, beneficiary designations. Who's using beneficiary designations? Let's go through this. This lady has a large IRA. She passed away. The daughter's the beneficiary. The daughter's already making $50,000 at the bank, but the lady passed away. When she passes away, the company called the daughter and says, hey, your mom had this account. It's a 401k, it's an IRA. You're listed as the beneficiary. Do you want the money? Well, the daughter says, yeah, I'm heartbroken. My mom died, but I was the beneficiary. Yeah, I'll take the money. Keep this in mind, guys. A qualified retirement account, traditional IRA, 401k, 403b, 457, TSP, TSA, profit sharing, a SEP plan. All that money, when it goes to your spouse, it's tax-free in most cases, no problem. It goes to your kids, it's ordinary income. So here's what happens. Daughter's already making $50,000. Well, she took the money, so now she makes $200,000 plus $250,000. That put her in the 32% tax bracket. She just lost $64,000. Was it your intention for your kids to pay the most possible taxes when you die? No. Well, using a beneficiary designation, Rojas, that's what you're doing. What did your broker say about that, Rojas? Never brought it up? That's 3 reasons not to name a beneficiary: probate, unintentional disinheritance, and taxes. Here's the fourth problem. Did you guys realize 78% of all inheritances are gone in 18 months or less? 78. The IRA you took 35 years to grow, in all probability, is going to be gone in about a year and a half because your kids didn't earn the money, but they will spend it. Is it your intention for your IRA to be gone in about a year and a half? That's a beneficiary. What did your advisor say about that? Nothing. Maybe he doesn't know or didn't care to tell. I would probably call him and ask him why. And then come see us. Okay. In fact, circle a day and time. 4 reasons not to name a beneficiary. Go ahead. Here's the other problem. Here's reason 5, 6, and 7. Did you guys know a beneficiary designation on an IRA, brokerage account, life insurance policy cannot be stopped? It can be delayed, but not stopped. Let me go through a process with you. I have a client, for 13 years, I told her, Margaret, you got to get an estate plan. You've got this going on. Scott, I'm okay. I got beneficiary designation. Margaret, okay, that might work, but it might not work. The lady dies in February last year. The insurance company sends the daughter the claim paperwork in March. We got to pay this out. You're the beneficiary. Daughter says, I don't want the money. I'm going through a divorce. Calls me. I call the company. We don't want it to happen. Can we delay? Yeah, we can delay it. No problem. December 1st, this past year, the insurance company called me and said, Scott, we're going to send the money to Missouri unclaimed property or to the daughter. What do you want us to do? I call the daughter. How's the divorce going? My husband's a pain in the neck. It's going to be another 6 months. Well, here's the deal. We're going to send the money to Missouri unclaimed property or to you. What do you want? Give me the money. Now, I don't know what happened, but guess what? That's a problem. See, beneficiary designation can't be stopped, only delayed. So here's the problem. If your daughter is going through a lawsuit or bankruptcy, she might not get the money anyway. She might not get the money anyway. Is that your intention when you named the bill? What did your broker say? I just gave you 7 reasons. Who likes beneficiary designations now? Please circle a day and time, because if you don't do that, you're not going to come see me. We can fix this real quick. Go ahead. What if your daughter, could your IRA cause a divorce? Could it cause a divorce? See, some of you have kids right now, the marriage is iffy anyway. You die, leave your daughter $500,000. She pays the taxes because she took a lump sum. Now she's got $300,000. She puts it in a joint bank account because she thinks everything's okay. That's the perfect time for your son-in-law to say, you know what, Sally? You've been a great wife. But the kids are grown now. I really don't want to be married anymore. I want a divorce. Well, guess what? It's in a joint account. How'd you like to pay off your son-in-law to divorce your daughter? Parting gift? $136,000 in this example was split. 136 divided by 2. It's a nice gift. Those are beneficiary designations. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Has anybody heard of this document, IRA Beneficiary Trust? Who in this room has a financial advisor? I have a concern. Nobody raised their hand. That tells me one of 2 things. Your advisor doesn't know this or didn't care to tell you. Which one do you think it is, Greg? I'd probably call your person tomorrow and ask. See, the reason IRA Beneficiary Trust is so important, if anybody's got a qualified account, you need to have this document. Here's why. It enables you to do 3 things. Number 1, manage the distribution after you're gone. With our documents, you can actually go in tomorrow if you come in, Brian, and say, my son is terrible with money. He gets the money over 10 years. My daughter, not so much. She's got 4 kids. She gets it over 6 years. My other daughter, 4. So you can decide the distribution plan now while you're alive. We're going to lower their taxes. They can't blow the money, right? And they're protected against a lawsuit and a divorce. If you're really going to protect your kids against a lawsuit and divorce, you must see me. Your beneficiary designation does not do this. Has anybody got this clear? I just gave you 10 reasons just on the beneficiary designation to come see us. Go ahead. We'll skip this for time. Go ahead. Anybody in the room have a special needs child or grandchild? We have a specialist if that's the situation. We have a specialist, Stacy Pearson. This is her speaking in front of the United Nations. You can't give somebody too much money too quick if they're on some type of federal or state aid. It'll knock them off the benefits. They got to pay it back, and it's a pain in the neck. So we have an expert that can help you not do that. So that's important. Go ahead. This one makes no sense to me. Scenario number 6. See, what happens is, who in this room's been married 35 years? Congratulations. 40. Congratulations. 50. Congratulations. Awesome. Here's what we always assume. Well, I've been married 50 years. If my husband has a heart attack, I'll just call the company and get the money out of the IRA. Well, how about say to this? No, you won't. My wife has a heart attack. She's got a bank account. She's got a CD, $100,000 in the bank. It's in her name. I'll just go to the bank down there Saturday and get the money. No, you won't. See what happens? We assume this stuff. Just because you've been married has nothing to do with it. On an IRA, a qualified account, if your spouse becomes incapacitated, if your spouse in a coma becomes incapacitated and your spouse has an IRA, what access will you have to that money without proper documents? What access does she have to his IRA without proper documents? Thank you very much. 0. Your clients probably don't know that. 0. None. That's a terrible phone call to get. Joe, I know I've had you for 38 years, man, but I can't tell you about your wife's IRA. They got to have a financial power of attorney. Problem. Go ahead. 7, we talked about this, single adult child over 18. If you have kids over 18, single, they need to come see us. You can't name their health care power. They have to do it, but they need to call me too. Go ahead. Proper estate planning could address all these. Anybody have a concern when I went through that? Anybody? Need to come in. We can help you with all these things. Go ahead. Questions, most common, what's better, a will or a trust? We talked about that. Probably a trust, got to be funded. What is probate? How does it work? And can it be avoided? Let's go through this. What is probate? Now, here's the definition of probate. This is why a will guarantees probate. What is probate? Probate is a Latin term that means to prove. It's the default estate plan. If you have anything that you own that doesn't have a beneficiary, it's got to go through probate. Probate says, what did this person own? Who did they owe? And then things are distributed through probate, the court. Why does a will have to go through probate? Here's why. The granting of probate is the first step in the legal process administering the deceased person's estate. It resolves all claims. All the bills are paid and distributes all the deceased persons under a will. A will must be read in probate court. There's the definition. It's right there. So we want to avoid probate at all costs. Go ahead. Why does probate exist? Well, here's why. Landscaper. If I'm a landscaper and I go do some work for Brian, and it's a $10,000 job, well, the first thing I'm going to do is say, Brian, I need $5,000 to start, man. I got to pay my guys and buy material. Write me a check for $5,000, right? Well, I'm doing the job. When I get done, if you passed away, how am I going to get my other $5,000? Your son is not required to pay me. I've got to go through probate, right? Yes. So probate serves a purpose. Doesn't mean you have to go through it. Now, problems with probate are this. Number 1, fees. Now, this is Missouri statistics. In Missouri, if my house is worth $400,000 and I die, that's the fee for probate. $23,100 for my house to go through probate. That's if nobody fights. Most people in Missouri don't know that. Number 2 problem. Oh, I'm sorry. So the question is, where do you want your money to go? Go ahead. Where do you want your money to go? To the state of Missouri or to your family? I'm going to assume, since all of you guys got an invitation, made a reservation, put it on your calendar, came to see me tonight, everybody wants to be here, correct? But you got to come in. We can't wish this away. You got 1 or 2 choices. Maybe here, maybe here. But if you want to be here, please circle a day and time now. Number 2, delays. Missouri, most states have this. Go ahead. 6-month temporary injunction. Go ahead. Who's going to pay a house payment? Who in this room has a house payment? So you die, house goes through probate, your kids can't sell the house. It's got to sit there for 6 months. Who's going to pay the house payment? I know who's going to pay the house payment. Your most successful child pays the house payment. And they never get the money back, and your kids don't talk for 10 Christmases because I had a bald spot. Or you didn't like my tie. Or I talked too fast. Or one of the slides was crooked. Don't be that person. We got the easiest way to do this, the most cost-effective way, and the only way to put you in control. I implore you to come see us. Who's going to pay your monthly bills? What about, let's say you die in October. Well, you're going to be in probate till April, right? What comes due in December? Taxes. $7,000, $10,000. Who's going to pay that one? Maybe nobody. If I was your son, why would I pay your real estate taxes? I'm not guaranteed to get the house if I pay your taxes. The judge is going to decide. Why would I risk that? What happens in 3 months? Foreclosure. You see the risk? You see why we can't wait for the tires to be on sale at Costco? All right, go ahead. Public record, probate. In most states, probate, anything goes through probate is in the newspaper 3 consecutive weekends. Anybody want their stuff in public forum? If you do, I wouldn't come see us either. Don't even bother. If you don't like public forum, I'd come see us. Write the thing right now. Number 4, contestability. Expose your probate to the state can lead to, anybody can contest your state. If you don't believe me, go home today and put in North Carolina CaseNet probate. Have some fun. It's all, you go to California probate. It's all there, guys. You don't got to go to the county record anymore. You don't, now remember, that's the default. Now what happens is the will guarantees probate. Remember this, all of you in this room have an estate plan. It's either a formal estate plan that's funded or probate. Probate is the default estate plan. So what happens when you go through probate, remember probate, what does this person own? Who do they owe? Own means they're doing an inventory. See, everybody's assets will be inventories. Yours will, sir. Your sisters, your brothers, your parents, everybody's assets will be inventoried. When they don't do an estate plan, probate does the inventory when you die. What is probate? Latin term. What did this person own? They're doing an inventory. House, car, goes through probate. Probate has fees. We estimate it's about 10%. You know what you're worth. Just multiply by 10%. That's the probate fee. And because most people aren't getting tax advice, you're going to leave that IRA money to your kids, and they're going to pay 30% on taxes. Most of you will give 60% to your family. If that's acceptable, I wouldn't come see us either. If you don't like this, circle a day and time. We're going to try to improve on this. Because if we do this revocable living trust, we can wipe this out for sure. As long as you give me your documents, we have a staff that's going to fund your trust. You don't got to mess with it, Rojas. We do it in an hour, man. And we can't always do this. We're going to try to get you to 100%. We might only get you to 78 or 87 or 92, but we'll get you as close as we can to 100%. But now you have a strategy. Go ahead. Non-planners. Elvis Presley dies with $10 million in his estate. 7.3 went to probate. Because Elvis Presley had the Memphis Mafia, right? 46 guys. I'm sure when they were in Hawaii, he said, you know what, Rojas? You can have the pink Cadillac when I die. But then when they were in Vegas, he said, Jonathan, I changed my mind. You can have it when I die. And guess what? Everybody started fighting. Howard Hughes, 7 years settled his estate. Michael Jackson, 7 years settled. Abraham Lincoln was an attorney, had nothing. He didn't know he was going to get shot at Ford's Theater. Dr. Martin Luther King, 45 years in probate. We all know Prince died about 7 years ago, right? Prince died in Minnesota. Minnesota has a 6-month temporary injunction, just like Missouri does, just like, I don't know, we'll have to look up North Carolina. Maybe it is. But Prince's assets were frozen for 6 months, $316 million frozen. Comedian George Lopez had to loan the family $20,000 to bury him. Don't tell me it doesn't happen. Happens all the time. And in fact, on average, 346 probate cases were opened today in Missouri and in North Carolina. Go ahead. Probate's not the problem. Probate serves if I'm a landscaper, it's pretty important to me. Probate is a choice, though. Lack of education, procrastination. Has anybody learned anything tonight? You are now the educated. Congratulations. You need to come see us because we can help you out with this. We might not be a fit, but if you don't come in, you'll never know. I would think this, Lewis, would it be better to waste an hour of your time to come see me and we're not a fit as opposed to not coming in at all and it costs you $100,000? Please circle a day and time. The other thing that's going to happen is procrastination. See, although you're educated, if you don't do anything with the education, it's a waste of time. I got a lot of broke friends that are college educated. Because they got the education, they just didn't do anything with it. See, procrastination is a word, real good, at doing nothing. If you're a procrastinator, you wasted your time even driving here. This whole session was a waste of your time. You got knowledge, but who cares? You're going to probably be one of the 90 million. Don't be that. Come in, let us see if we can help you. Parties involved in the trust. Number 1, grantor settler. We want to make you guys the grantor settler. You make all the rules. See, if you don't do an estate plan and you die and your stuff goes through probate, guess who becomes the grantor settler? Some judge in your county who doesn't care if the Mickey Mantle baseball card goes to Timmy. In fact, there's going to be 346 probate cases tomorrow. He doesn't really care. They just want to get off the dockets. We want to make you good. Doesn't it make sense if you paid off a house, you want to be the grant, you want to decide where it goes in your IRA? Well, you must come in. We want to make it. Now, you guys have these assets. See, the problem you guys have is these assets are in your name personally. You're over the probate threshold. So we got to develop a strategy, which is the trust. It's not enough to get the trust. It's not enough to go to a law firm and pay $5,000 and get it signed, because we got to fund it. It's not enough to come in and pay our one-time flat fee. That's a start. It's still not enough, Todd. We got to fund it. The problem is, if you guys go anywhere else, it's going to take you 4 to 12 weeks. If it's done at all, good luck. You come see us, 1 hour. I implore you to come see us. We can do it in an hour. We put all this stuff in the trust. Because of that, when you guys pass away, there it goes. I could have done the whole seminar in one slide. I hope I didn't waste your time. With that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed the presentation. Please fill out your questionnaire. If you want me to call you tomorrow, circle a day and time. I'll call you, have you come in 1 hour. We might not be a fit, but at least you'll know. Everybody's drive home safely. And in fact, we'll be here tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. Any of your friends, relatives, neighbors, if they want to come, have them call me. They need a reservation. With that being said, everybody have a good night. Drive home safely. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.